Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our jointed Mr. Scarecrow. As you can see behind me, we're gearing up for the fall season. It may be August and we just got done with a massive heat wave, but I can feel a little bit of that crispness creeping in. And very excited to get into some fall crafts. So we're gonna kick this year off, 2022, with a jointed Scarecrow, which is something that many of you have actually asked for and requested, so we're going to do that. And just like in the past, what we're going to do is start by working on the limbs. Okay, so I've got a few of these things, a few of the elements here already sort of separated out. I'll walk you through everything. We're going to start with the legs, and well, there's two sections to the legs, obviously. We've got the thighs and then the main part of the legs. And we'll start with the left leg, okay? So the main part of it is made up of these three layers. We've got the base layer, then we've got this yellow layer so that we can get some straw in there. And then we have the actual patterned layer that goes on top of that with just a little bit of the straw sticking out. And then we have a few elements that are gonna go on top of that just to add a few additional little elements. So we're gonna start off by gluing this down to the main part of the structure here, and I'm going to go easy on the glue here. And I did ink just the bottom portion where the little straw pieces stick out with a tan color, something a little like a light brown, or a dark brown actually in this case, something that will somewhat match whatever base color you're using. So kind of use the base color to figure out what color you're going to use. Okay, you want to match that up. Obviously, there's a circle here where the brad's going to go. We want to make sure that that remains unobstructed. Okay, next we're going to take this pattern piece and we're going to glue that in place. And I did also ink this with a nice dark brown. And one reason why I don't always mention or specify in the PDF what colors we used for ink is because it's not always going to apply to everybody, because you may make yours using different colors. So of course, you know, if you've got a different pattern that you want to use for the legs or the feet, obviously if there's a hint of red in there, brown may not work. Maybe red would be more appropriate, okay? Now for the shoe here, we've got this little burlap sort of looking pattern that's gonna go right there on the bottom. You just wanna match that up nice and flush with the base, or the very bottom of this piece, I should say. Okay, so we've got that. And then there is a little overlay. It's gonna go right here. It's almost like a little hot dog shape. That's gonna get glued down right there. And these are gonna be great decorations for your home. With school starting, we may pack one of these up and gift it to our kid's teacher. We'll see. Okay, so that's that for the left leg. Now the left leg does not have any patches on it, but what I do want to do is I'm going to pop this underneath my mat and let that dry nice and flat. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the other leg. So let's get all the pieces for that. We've got that. We need the little hot dog shape. There it is. And what else do we need? We need a patch. We have a patch that goes with that one. There's a few patches. There's two on the coat, or on this jacket, and there's one on his upper thigh on the right side, and then one on the leg on the left side. It's going to be kind of hard for me to explain what they look like, but this is the one that goes with this leg here. So if you just look at the patterns and the cutouts, you'll be able to identify it. It's hard for me to explain what it looks like. So you should just look and just make sure you find the right one. Of course, if you can't get a good visual on it in the video, which I'd be surprised if you couldn't, but we do have high resolution images, product photos that you can refer to if you need help identifying that. Okay, so this one's going to go down just like the one before. I'm going to get that yellow layer in place. And as I mentioned, I inked just the bottom part of this. Just kind of went kind of rough with it. And that's the beauty of crafting for fall, especially a Scarecrow, because obviously he's been out in the field working. He's gotten, you know, he's getting dirty because he's out there working 24 hours a day. So if you get a little crazy with the ink, that's okay. This is the time to do that. Okay, I've got a nice little fly visitor here. All right, so this is going to go right on top like so. Just make sure you match that up as accurately as you can. Mine was a tiny bit off. No problem. Fix that up nice and quick. Okay, there's that. Let's get the bottom of the shoe in place. And then we'll get that little orange or apricot, in this case AC apricot overlay, the little hot dog shape. Get that nice and in place. Gives the shoe some nice interest. And there is our little hot dog shape. And it's going to go right here, just like that. A lot of beautiful fall colors here that we're working with. Okay, now the patch. Okay, there should be little markers on this piece here, and I think it might be kind of hard to see them on this pattern piece, and actually I'm not even sure if there is one. You can just pop it on there pretty much anywhere, right in that area. So this piece here is going to go on top of this piece, and if you want to follow along exactly how we have it, it goes like this. And you can see how these kind of make up the little stitches here. Okay. And then this is going to get glued right about here. Okay. So I'm just going to glue that right about there on his leg. And I'm looking at it. I don't think there are any markers there, but again, it's a patch on a Scarecrow. Just pop it in place. It's going to look great. Just like that. Okay, so right leg is done. I'm going to put that underneath my mat, let that dry nice and flat. Okay, so onto the thigh portion of his legs. We've got this piece and then this little overlay, and as you can see, I inked this one with a little bit of a darker brown. So let's get that glued down, and we're going to do the same thing with the other one, which I've already done. Already finished that. Okay, and this one, this little part right here, that is going to be on the inside of his thigh. So this is the left leg. This is going to be the right, and the left leg actually has a little patch. And actually, upon further review, I looked at the actual file itself because it was kind of hard to see on the actual pattern, but there are little markers for the patch. Okay, so this is the little piece that we need to glue onto the left thigh, and then we've got a little overlay that goes on top of that as well. And as I mentioned, you're just going to look for, let me see how this goes. It goes like this. Need to find the little marker. Let me grab this one here so I can see exactly where it goes. Oh, okay. So it's going to go right here, actually. Right there, just like that. Okay. And then we've got this little piece with two little cutouts, two little notches cut into it that's going to go right on top of that to give it kind of a two-toned sort of look. And what we want to do is try to match up these little notches here, or these little, what are they called? Stitching. It's basically just stitching. Okay, so that one's going to look like that. And of course, we need to glue this one together as well so that we have the two thighs, and we can put that underneath our mat for later. Okay, so now let's move on to the arms. Okay, so the first part of the arm up to the elbow is going to look like this, and this is going to be his right one, and this is going to be the left. Okay, and they go on like this. So all we really need to do is just glue the patterned layer on top of the solid layer. Again, just making sure that we match it up properly and that the holes match up as well, because we're going to be using those to put our brads in place to hold this guy all together. So obviously, for those of you, I think I'm gonna say that scarecrows are probably pretty universal because we were farmers. Well, we still are farmers, not all of us, but they obviously use these to protect their crops. If you were not aware, I don't know, maybe that's common knowledge, I would assume. But for some reason, it's taken on, well, it's almost like a symbol for the season, really. And these guys, if you dress them up properly, you can even give them a Halloween twist. And why not? Okay, so that's it for that one. Now, you'll also notice that there's a little notch, a little Roman numeral 1, or just a little dash right there. And that, again, is telling you that that's the part that's going to go up against his body. Okay, so we've got these two. I'm going to put these under my mat so that they dry. And actually, one thing that I just noticed, and I don't want this to become a problem later, is this little thin little section here. I maybe didn't get enough glue on it, so I just put a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper. I'll just pop it right under there. Just paint a little extra glue right on that little point, because if that rips and comes off, I'm just going to throw it off a little bit and just make it not look so perfect. Not that we're seeking perfection by any means. We're going to do our best, obviously. All right, we'll put that underneath the mat, let that dry, and let's work on the arms. We've got two of those, obviously. Okay, and thumbs are going to go on the inside, so that's the left, that's the right. And we've got the overlay pattern that goes like this. And then we also have the main part of the hands, which is this cool little burlap pattern. Okay, and I also inked that very gently with a little bit of a dark brown. And we have the little hay part, or the straw, I should say. I don't think it's hay. And that's going to go like that. And then we've got the little hot dog pieces. They're going to go right here, just a nice little touch of orange against that blue. And we don't have any patches or anything like that, so that's pretty much it as far as the assembly of this goes. So let's hop right to it here. I want to make sure that there's no overlap there. Nope. All right, so let's flip this over and get our glue flowing. These are great projects if you want to make something that, well, you can keep for a lifetime, really, because they fold up nicely. They store very well. And I was going to say, this is a great little project to do with a child, for sure. Also, for those of you, I know not many, but there are some of you out there that actually hold little classes where, you get a group of people and you put together a dreaming tree project, whether it be in a retirement village or at a hospital, at a school, a church, or whatnot. This would be a great little project to do as well. A lot of different pieces to cut out, but definitely one that people will enjoy, especially if they're new to paper crafting. This is more paper piecing rather than making 3D stuff. So the little hand is going to go right in there, should fit like a little puzzle right into place. Then we're going to take our straw and glue that right on top. I'm just going to do a few little dots on these little fragile little areas there. Okay, and just match that up. You can see where the shadow element is, and again, it's going to match right up against where the previous piece meets the actual shirt. That looks great. And then finally, we've got our little hot dog piece. This is going to make me crave hot dogs, even though I know how they make them. Still enjoy a little hot dog here and there. Okay, so same thing on the other side. Let's put this underneath our mat just to make sure it dries nice and flat. And move on to the other one. Same process, just other hand. So don't really need to dive into all of the little details here. But anyway, yeah, speaking of scarecrows, definitely one of my favorite characters, so to speak, to decorate with for Halloween. For those of you that really, really enjoy Halloween, do yourself a favor and hop on the internet and do a search for Pumpkin Rot. Pumpkin Rot is an artist, like a Halloween artist, and he makes the creepiest looking scarecrows ever. It's almost a little dark, actually, but okay, so other arm is put together, and just got to put that little hot dog in place. There we go. And voila. Oh, well, you know what? Actually, more to it here. We have the little straw. But anyway, yeah, I think I've dressed up as scarecrows. I think I'm starting to get a little too old to dress up. Are you ever too old to dress up, though? I don't know. But with a new baby on the way in November, Liesel's actually kind of hoping that he comes early. And of course, wouldn't it be funny if our baby boy Peyton was born on Halloween? That would be appropriate, to say the least. Okay. All right, so legs, arms, all done. Now we can start putting together the main part of our little guy here, or big guy, I should say. And first off, we're going to start with this piece. And on top of that, we're going to put this red piece on, like so. So all we have showing through here is a little bit of the brown, and then we have some of that brown showing through on the bottom there. And I think I actually need to, I've got one little piece that I need to ink. I will do that off camera, but let's get this glued down. Now this piece has a lot of real estate, so we're going to need to work efficiently here. I don't think this is one of those pieces where we can do it in sections, so just do your best. I kind of like using the little squiggly method, and just kind of erratically, but carefully get the glue on there. Worst case scenario, if for some reason you are not fast enough to do this, just remember you can always grab that scrap piece of paper and just get some glue around the perimeter, because really the perimeter is really the most important part. Okay, pardon my head here for a second. I'm just trying to make sure that I get this lined up correctly, and I do enjoy and prefer sometimes to pick this up so I can kind of feel with my fingers and make sure that everything is lined up correctly. Okay, that looks great. And again, if for some reason you have a little corner or something that just is not sitting properly, grab a scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on there, just tuck it between the two layers, paint it, just kind of push it up against the upside or underside of this piece, and then press it down, and it'll sit in place for you. It shouldn't be a problem. Okay, now one thing that we can do right now is glue this piece down right where the two pant legs meet. I'm just making up words. Sometimes I do that while I'm crafting. That's going to go right in here, just like a little puzzle. Okay, just press that into place. And next, what we can do is, well, let's just actually start putting his head together. First thing we're going to do is glue down this piece here. Okay, so that's going to go on like so. And that's going to be mostly his face and a little bit of the collar here. So this one's kind of just like that previous piece we put down, but less real estate to cover with your glue. So I think we should be able to get this one on with no problem. And Ron did a wonderful job picking out the papers and patterns for this project. So be sure to check out the supply list for this. Chances are, I hate to say it, some of these patterns may not be available, but you should probably be able to find things that are similar, especially this burlap pattern. I think it's a very common one. You can probably find it as an open stock item at your local craft store, because that is going to come in handy. And I know for sure that I've seen it in other projects over the last couple of years, so shouldn't have a problem getting your hands on it. Okay, so we're just matching all this up. There we go. That looks good. And I have a little part of the hat here that did not sit completely. Okay. All right, so next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the hair portion in place, like so, because then the hat is gonna go over that, and we're gonna have just a little bit of the straw coming out of the top and for the hair, okay? So let's get this glued down, and I did take a nice little tan color on this. It's actually AC straw, I believe. I believe it's AC straw. I'll have to double check, but it's kind of hard to ink every single little nook and cranny on this part because everything's so, you know, there's so much, so little room to work in between each of the little strands of hair. So I just kind of just roughly inked whatever I could, and I think it turned out okay. It looks fine to me, actually. And again, this is one of those projects that you can get a little sloppier with because, again, it's fall. This is a very rustic looking piece. He's a scarecrow. You don't need to get all crazy and precise with the inking on this. I think it'll be fine the way it is. Okay, and I've got a little piece here that did not sit completely flat. I'll just throw a little bit of glue on there and press that down. And there we go. Okay. Okay. So we've got the hair portion in place, and now we can install or add our little hat. Okay, so let's get the glue going on that. You can see that I inked both sides because I thought we were using the plaid part, but we're actually using the linen pattern instead. Okay, so let's get that in place. Make sure it lines up accurately and that you have the little hole covered correctly so that if you want to hang this, you can do so. And this piece actually is going to go right here, right where the brim of the hat meets the top part of the hat. It should fit in that spot, and we've got like a little half circle there, and that's just a place for us to glue or pop dot the little sunflower that we're going to add to our little scarecrow here. So just get that lined up as accurately as you can, just like that. Okay, that part's mostly going to be hidden. Okay, all right, so we've got that. Next, we're going to find this little piece, and this is going to go on top of the hat at the very top. And I'm just going to use a few little dots since it's pretty much a little delicate little piece. And again, just make sure you match it up with the little hole. And then there's a little shadow element for this piece here. It's probably just a little bit of rope holding everything together. Okay, and you can work on the facial features. Now the eyes are already there. You can fill those in with some tiny little rhinestones, and we should have some little markers on here to help us with the positioning of the rest of these pieces. Again, it's a little difficult to see because of the pattern that I have on there, but you can see that there's a little marker for the top part of the nose right about there, and if you put that down, you should usually be able to see where the other part of it is. And now that I have that part in there, I can actually see the other marker right there on the right hand side of the nose. So it should be pretty easy to figure out where it goes. Okay. Let's pop that in place, and again, looking for, there it is, like that. Okay, just like that. It does have some little cheeks that I also inked, and we should have some markers for those as well, even though they're almost impossible to see on this pattern. I do see them there. Okay, so let's get those glued down into place. I do see little markers there, right there. Okay, and this one's going to go off to the left a little bit. I am doing my best to find the little marker. I think I see it. There it is. As long as you get it roughly in the correct spot, it'll be fine. There we go. Okay, and then of course we have the little mouth. And that, again, there are some markers there as well. It may help if you have a pattern like mine to just shine a flashlight. Oh yeah, now I can see them. Okay, so I see, just take a look at this real quick. There it is. And that is for, there we go, like that. Okay, so that's gonna go on just like that. Basically just put them right below where the little cheeks are, okay? If they're not exactly in the right spot, you, depending on your paper that you're using, may find it a lot easier to find those markers. They are pretty much lost on mine. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's take a look. Yep, nailed it. Okay, great. All right, so that's that. We do have a little bow that we're gonna put together. We're gonna put that on last because we're gonna pop dot that, and it's gonna go like this. So we've got this layer that goes on top of the shadow layer, and then we have one additional little layer that goes in the center. Okay. So get that in place like so. Just match that up. Press that down, and then we have this little guy. It's going to go right on top of the center of our bow just to give it a little extra dimension. You don't need a lot of glue for that. And there we go. And again, I'm going to save this for later because we're gonna use some foam squares or a 3D Zot to apply that. Okay, so I've got that in place. Now, one other thing too that you'll notice on the collar here, we do have some stitching that you can fill in with either a pencil or a marker or whatever it is you want to use. Okay, but in the meantime, let's get the rest of this installed here. This is part of his little coat, and that's going to go just like that. So a little puzzle piece right up to this part here. You want to make sure that the holes match up and everything is flush along the perimeter here. So let's do that. This is a beautiful graphic 45 paper, especially on the back here. And obviously this wouldn't look the best on a Scarecrow, but boy, is that a pretty pattern. Okay, get your glue on there. Just like that. And as I mentioned, a little puzzle piece right there. Make sure the hole matches up. Make sure that it's nice and flush along the side as well. There we go, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, let's grab our other one, and that one's gonna go right here, like so. Just like that. Let's get our glue going on this piece. Now, this piece is very busy as well. It's almost hard to distinguish where the glue is. So we're dealing with a couple little unique challenges here as far as finding the little markers for the various parts, as well as seeing where our glue is for that matter. Okay, great, so that's in place. Now we have a few little patches that we need to install. Okay, and we have this large one that's going to go right roughly in this area. Again, looking for the little marker. I can see one there. And let me see if I can find the other one here. Let me grab my flashlight again. There's one there, and then there's one there. Okay, so you can see there's a marker there and a marker there. So let me get that glued down before I lose sight of it. Okay, and it's going to go like this roughly. There's that, and then there is that. Just like that. We'll press that down, and then we have this guy. This is going to go on like this. Okay, so let's get that glued into place. Just a few little dots will do. Like so. And it's going like this. You guys could probably figure this out by just looking at the photo, but of course we like to keep things consistent and never omit an assembly video. Okay. Oh, by the way, we have two of these little circles. These are as little buttons. Okay, one's going to go right here, just like a little puzzle, and the other one's going to go right there, like a little puzzle. Okay. Pop that in place, just like that. Okay, great. We have one more little patch here, and this one is going to go right in this area here. You can see the little markers. I can actually see them pretty well. Okay, so that one's going to go there. Let's get some glue on this guy here. Okay. And there we go. And then we have this little piece that's going to go right on top of that to give it some nice contrast and more interest and color. Throw a few little drops of glue on there, match that up with those little stitches. Just like that. Let me bring it down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, wonderful. So all that's left to do is we have this little leaf, this flower, and then this guy. And then we have this flower with this center, and that goes with that, and then the bow. So these are all just little bonus elements that we have. But let's go ahead and let's kind of put them together. Let's grab all of our items. Whoops. Having a hard time getting back in the swing of things here. Okay, so now obviously if you have brads that match the colors of these various elements, I would definitely use them. Like I found some orange ones for this. Okay, so I'm going to pop my brad through here, and we're going to find, again, the side that has a little mark is going to go inside, and it's going to look like this. So this one kind of has like a little teardrop. That's a little bit thicker at the end. This one's a little thinner. The thinner one goes on top. Okay, so let's get this through here. Whoops. Pop that through, and pop that through, and then spread that out. There we go. Okay, and we want the thumb inside. This is going to go on top, and I have a nice little blue brad for that. I may end up painting these just to match the color even more, because noticing that blue maybe isn't the best blue. Okay, and we're going to grab another orange one for the other side and feed that through like that. Grab the other, where's the other hand? Where'd you go, buddy? Oh, there you are. Okay, and I'll grab my other blue one. It's going on top, just like that. Spread those apart. Yeah, I'm not sure that blue really works. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. Okay, next we've got the thigh, and again, this little part goes on the inside. This is going to go behind. So I'll grab my orange brad, pop that through the top like so. There we go. Grab the other one. This is the fun part. You can actually see them all come together. There's that guy. Great. And then our legs, obviously, those are going to go on top. And I have, as you can see here, I took a couple brads that were yellow, and I just took some acrylic paint, and I just painted them with a small little brush just to match it. It doesn't have to match it exactly, but obviously you don't want it to stand out too much. Okay, that's going to go right in there. Beautiful. Cool, look at that. All right, so now I'm going to throw a couple drops of glue right onto his eyeball. There's one. There's another one. And I've got these black rhinestones. I'm just going to drop right in place. You can use a pick-me-up tool if you need. There we go. Cool. All right, so now let's finish them off by, I'm gonna grab a foam square for the back of my bow, and I'm gonna use 3 of them just to make sure it stays nice and secure. And you'll also notice, actually before I finish this off, let me grab a pencil. I like to do this with pencil just because I feel it's it's just more accurate. Okay, so you can see here, there's a bunch of stitches along this pattern, and you want to just take those and just use a pencil or a very thin marker and just draw over the stitches just to give it that little stitched look. I may fill this in with something a little bit darker. But boy, it's kind of hard to see because of the pattern. So do whatever you need to do to see that. I think I can see it. There we go. Okay, so yep, you can see that. I'm almost afraid to go too dark. If anything, I would go with a light brown maybe. But again, the thinner the better. What is that? Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I guess that's not too bad. Just quick little strokes. I wouldn't keep it on the paper for too long, because then it's just going to bleed and it may end up looking a little unsightly. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, and we do have, again, some markers right there, right below the mouth, in the shape of, let's see, make sure I got this going the right way. It's going to go like this. A little marker in the shape of the center part of the bow. Let me make sure I see that right. There we go, just like that. Pop that into place. That really finishes it off. Okay, next we have this little daisy. And what I would do is grab a thin little dowel, pinch the petal between your finger and the petal, and then just curl it towards you, just like that. Okay, and then you can kind of push the dowel out a little bit. Okay, just like that, just to give it a little bit of dimension. So again, place it between your finger and the dowel, bring it in about 90 degrees, and then push the dowel through. Okay, there we go. And what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of glue right in the center of our flower, and take the other one, pop it right on top, but you want to offset it so that the 2 layers are not competing. You want every petal to be visible. Okay, just like that. And then you can take and just kind of bring the top layer in a little bit more. And then we have this little orange piece. It's going to go right inside, right in the center. Just throw a tiny bit of glue on there. Pop it right in the middle. And just press that down. Make sure it's centered. Mine looks a little off. There we go. And then that's just going to get glued right onto his chest, right in this area here. Okay. Okay, so as far as the last piece here, we've got this maple leaf, I guess you can call it. Looks like a maple leaf to me. Going to just train it a little bit, give it a little bit of life. I inked it with it's almost like a mustard color. And what I'm going to do is just take and just kind of curl it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to curl this one back a little bit as well. You can always flip it this way and just kind of shape it so it's not so flat looking. I want it to kind of curl back a little bit. Okay, so that's going to get glued like so. Roughly, you want the little circle that's part of this element to go right on top of the circle that's there on the little band around the hat. Okay, and I want that to sit just like that roughly. Okay, so let's throw a little bit of glue right here on this little circle and pop that into place. Press and hold, give it a few moments. And we're gonna put a pretty little sunflower on there. Now we do have a little leaf. You can do the same thing with that, maybe curl that one back. Actually, you know what, let's curl it forward, why not? I've got this one, this top part curled back, this one going forward. Can curl that one back a little bit and throw a little bit of glue on the back of this. I'll just thin that out a bit. And that's gonna go right about there, like so. Okay. And then we have our little sunflower. Same thing as we did with the little daisy. Just take it, place each petal between your finger and the dowel, bring it up about 90 degrees, and then run the dowel through. Do the same thing with this one. And hit that with a tiny little bit of ink as well. It's going to look nice against that orange and brown for sure. Okay, we'll throw a little bit of glue on the back of this one, and just like we did before, glue it to this one, but make sure that you offset the petals so that you can see each one. Just like that, get it nice and centered. And then we'll throw a little bit of glue in the center of this, and throw this piece in the center, just like that. Okay, and then finally, you can actually take and just glue that down right there, and voila. And that's it, he is done. Yeah, there's a little bit of work to do with this one, but hey, you know what? Ron did a great job with the design on this. Very happy with how it turned out, and this is an immediate little classic piece that I'm sure everyone will enjoy. So that's gonna do it for our jointed Mr. Scarecrow. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please join the almost 50,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel by visiting YouTube and hitting subscribe while you're there. Hit that bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new product, whether it be paid or free. And also, if you make anything from this bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group, or you can type in this little URL that you see here at the bottom of your screen. So as they say, happy fall, y'all, and I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.